So you in Atlanta saw what it was like to take a massive leap forward and sort of what needs to happen after that does. If you could take me through what you think you learned from that and what needs to happen here to make sure that there's a similar success.
Um, yeah, good question. When I came to Atlanta, my first full year was a 60-win season, so that was kind of what I was born into. But my memories of that were, for me personally, just trying to do the little things. There was a lot of talented players on the team, and I think just for me, I just tried to just do the dirty work, play hard, and but from the rest of the guys, I think sharing the ball was a big thing. Getting everybody involved defensively, having people's backs, being there for one another. Those are the two things that really stand out to me.
Troy Halliburton from Sixers Wire. Mike, with the absence of Bellinelli and Ilyasova from this squad, who were very important to the bench last year, how do you feel? How much responsibility do you feel coming in, having to kind of replace that outside shooting and help space the floor with so many ball handlers and creators on this team?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the role I've tried to create for myself. Bring energy off the bench, bring floor spacing, and be aggressive with my shooting. And defensively, Coach Brown has challenged me this year to work on keeping guys in front, not get the defense into a lot of rotations. And I feel confident too in my ability to protect the rim defensively. But mostly, I think what I try to do is just bring energy off the bench on that second unit.
Mike, Sarah Todd, Philadelphia Inquirer, Philly.com. You mentioned talking to Brett about keeping people in front of you. What else does he talk to you about how what your role is going to be on the team, and then also just your general impressions being around the team for a short time right now?
That was the big thing that he mentioned to me. And there was a coaches clinic here a couple of days ago as well, and that was a point of emphasis that Coach Billy Lang and also Coach Brown were mentioning was just the way that the NBA is played now. It's it's a lot of switching on ball screen defense, and that's that's what he's been preaching to me defensively, and then offensively, I think just they say spacing to the 4-point line here. There's they put a line up there on the court for practice, and that's something that's a little bit new for me, but it makes a lot of sense being able to step into your shot and create more space on the floor, being a threat to shoot. So I would say those are the two, areas that I've heard him speak mostly of. And then, being with the guys, I've been here the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it's been really fun being on the court with them, learning the new offense, getting to play with some of the guys. I'm looking forward to just continuing that.
Mike, just to that end, when you guys had that 60-win success, it was mostly based around both spacing and being able to take care of the ball. You've always been above average in terms of your turnover percentage, especially at your position. Do you see that as something significant on the second unit? And was that part of sort of a comfort level, seeing that there's similar systems when Brett is there and where Coach Bud is, both of them having that San Antonio pedigree?
Yeah, I think so. I think something that I've been trying to focus on a little bit this offseason and bring into this year too is being able to create a little more as well offensively. So, obviously you never want to turn it over, but that's going to happen a little bit more when you're trying to be more aggressive and creating opportunities. So, I feel very confident in my shooting ability, but I think something that Coach Brown and also the assistants have been talking to me about is being aggressive, creating for others as well, and getting that ball moving, because you can't get the ball moving unless you are being aggressive trying to score, because the defense then has to respect that. You can't just be out there just casually passing. So that's something we'll be focusing on as well. Yeah.
Sure. Hey, Mike, I assume you got here a couple weeks ago, kind of, get yourself with the team here. Before that, open question, how did you spend your summer?
I have a home in Minnesota, which is where I'm from. So I was there a good amount, but I was mostly in Atlanta training that was a big focus for me, just trying to be in really good shape. And it was the longest off season that I've had. Obviously, we didn't make the playoffs, so I think April 10th was the last game with the Hawks. And I started training right after that. I went on a little trip, and I brought a trainer with me and just started working on my body then. And so I feel really happy with how the summer went overall. I feel like it was a good mix of training and just getting some relaxation. And I feel good with where I'm at, physically, and I think most importantly mentally going into the year.
Mike, just when you look back on having the type of playoff experience you have, 4 separate seasons making the playoffs, what single piece of advice do you have for your teammates where playoff experience is in relatively short supply, and do you see this as an opportunity to get this the rest of the way for you in your career?
Yeah, I think the playoffs, there's a whole different animal. The intensity, the attention to detail. You're playing the same team, obviously, continually, so the adjustments that are made. But I think, from my experience, is if you work on the right habits early in the year, while it is a different game in the playoffs, I think, if you're able to look back and you say, hey, in the preseason, in the early parts of the season and throughout the season, personally and collectively, if we were challenging ourselves every day and to build those habits, and obviously you might win some games, lose some games, go through some streaks, but if you can feel confident in that you worked hard on those habits when it wasn't easy, in the middle of the season, for example, I think that carries over into the playoffs. From my experience, being able to trust each other, I think most importantly defensively, be able to have each other's backs, and yeah.